last couple months, trying to play as much as I can. But it's a short season for us.
Joel, you talked a lot at the exit of last season about being unsatisfied the way your personal season turned out because of health issues. How do you feel right now heading into this year? You feel rejuvenated?
Yeah, I feel really good right now. You don't play football for a few months, plus you get some, treatments and some stuff taken care of, and the body starts to feel a lot better. So right now I'm at a good space, physically, and I'm upping up my running and conditioning and bin lifting and stuff. So I feel good right now, and we got a little bit of time before the season starts, so hopefully it just keeps improving.
How much have you kind of changed your approach as you progress through your career in terms of how you handle your body and everything during the off season?
Yeah, as a rookie, I thought if I took like 2 days off, I was like behind for the season, so I was just constantly like, oh, I'm back at it, I got to start training. And now there's a fine line between wearing myself out before the season starts and making sure I'm in shape to play, though. So it's definitely a difference. Having kids too, you got time to hang out with them and stuff, take trips with them. But no, I think I figured it out well, and I've been able to ramp myself up to really be at my best when the season's starting.
What do you know about your new offensive line coach?
He's good. I think I told the story, but he worked me out coming out of college at Nevada. He was with the Rams. He came out. We had lunch or dinner. We did some board work. So I had a small relationship with him. Then obviously I've known him across the league. He's been an assistant coach when Corbett was with him. So I talked to Corbett about him, and then obviously Poe's had him in Seattle. So it's good. He has a good energy. He brings some passion to the field. We're still working through an offense, and I haven't obviously been on the field with him yet. But so far it's been good when I've been in the meetings, and I've kind of picked his brain on some things.
Joe, what do you think about the NFLPA, whatever proposal, whatever it is at this point, about getting rid of the offseason program and then starting whenever it would be?
Yeah, I don't know the exact details, but I do think there is some science behind like a better ramp-up period of, hey, as a young guy, I always thought like, all right, I have to be in great shape April 4th when I show up for OTAs and off-season. And so you don't really have a long break to get back into shape there. But now if you push it back, you kind of have this like 4 or 5 month off-season where, hey, you can take a month off, you can start slowly working into it, and then get ready to go. And then once you show up at the end of June or early July, then you have a 3-week period of not really training camp practices, but like an off-season, program where they can kind of ramp it up. So I think body-wise and, guys actually being able to train in off-season, I think is probably the smartest move. I don't know if people, schedule-wise and stuff are very used to certain things. So we'll see how that goes. But I think science, like in a ramp-up period and training in the off-season, all those things, seem like it's a smart move.
Joel, do you think before you retire you'll be playing 18-game schedule?
I hope not. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the details on that are, but I know next CBA, I would think they would get 18 games by the next CBA, but I will not be playing by then. So,
Joe, when they added
I mean, they have to collectively bargain it. So, I don't know the details of, those talks, or I don't think the off-season program's worth an extra game if that's what they're talking about, or things like that. I don't have a seat at the table in those discussions, but yeah, I would hope we would get more than a couple voluntary off-season programs switched.
Joe, when they added the 17th game, were you surprised they didn't add another bye week? Or is that something you would have supported?
It's hard because, like, in the middle of the season, I'm like, oh, I could love it. Like last year was beat up. I was like, I'd love an extra bye. But then you look at, like, a totality of the schedule, and you're like, I don't want to play till, mid-February, and I don't want to, all these extra things. But I think the more games you play, the more time you have to give guys off. And I think there's ways to work around it where maybe you have like a mini bye, not just after the Thursday game, but you play like a Sunday game, and you're not always going into that game 4 games. Like you have a little bye week there, so you get an extra few days off there, and that could be your second bye, and it probably adds a week still, but it's still at least taking care of the guys' bodies. I think those quick turnarounds are, at least now that I'm getting older, is what's the hardest thing for me.
Joel, you've been through the coaching changes, you've been through coordinator changes, with Ken Dorsey coming in now and, working with Kevin to revamp this offense a little bit. Has anything changed for you?
There's some different terminology and stuff. I think that the identity of the offense is very similar, but I think there's new wrinkles and new, like I said, terminology. Like once you've been in the league for 10 years now, you've ran pretty much every offense imaginable, and it's now just like putting those plays into the system. So there's some new code words that I'm like, wait, I think that was a different code word last year, or that was a different play call. So you just got to kind of wrap that stuff. But I think in the passing game, they've definitely evolved. I don't know the details of every route, but it seems like there's some new wrinkles and some new things that will, some motions, some just different things that might not, if you read a play off the playbook, sound different. But when you look at it, I think it's going to add a little bit more totality to the
Joel,
offense.
4 years. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Tony. Okay,
Flip?
yeah, I'll do it. Joel, to go back to the off-season proposal thing, I know Shelby Harris was pretty vocal on his social media about not being a fan of it. I mean, is this just one of those things where there's going to be differing opinions amongst players?
Yeah.
Or what do you feel like the sentiment is right now?
I think there is different. I haven't really talked to too many people besides JC, who's I'm sure has his,
Yeah.
But I don't know if guys really truly know what the new proposal is. So it's hard to be like, have a correct take right now, I would say. So we'll see. I mean, once we get a more concrete idea of what's happening, I think we can get a better understanding. I think it depends too with age. Like if you're a young guy, like you probably want 4 or 5 months off in a row, but some young guys might not want 4 or 5 months. They're like, I need to get back to work. If you have kids, I could see a different idea. So there's definitely gonna be some differing opinions, but I think we trust what's best for our bodies and preparing for a season.
Joe, for